Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Say What Needs to Be Said. I'm your host, your big dog, Asante, Mr. Pick Six Samuel, two-time Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowler, all-pro, record-breaking cornerback, and the last cornerback to intercept 50 interceptions during a 16-game season era. Thursday night vibes. How we doing out there tonight? Talk to me. You know I love to talk back. Let me know where you're chiming in from in the chat, and we're going to have a good time tonight. Come way. We set the trends that say what needs to be said. We say it first here, then everyone talks about it after we talk about it. How y'all doing out there tonight, man? We got a lot to discuss tonight. We want to talk about the Raiders versus the 49ers and how the quarterback situation for the Raiders is going. We have to talk about the Bills versus the Browns. We have to talk about Tua Tagovailoa. What is Cam Ward up to? The number one overall pick for the 2025 NFL draft. How is Shador doing mentally? How is he dealing with everything? You understand? How is the Sanders family? I'm sure everyone is uptight, but hey, taking it in well. But there's only so much one can take. You understand? I hope I'm looking good. I was getting compliments on my skin and my face. I'm taking care of myself. That's what life is about, baby. Health is wealth. So let's get into this thing tonight. It's Thursday night vibes, baby. Make sure y'all chat and talk to me in the chat. Oh, man, we got Georgia in the building. What is that? Monticello, Georgia. How we doing? Hey, that's my second home, Georgia, man. Shout out to the Falcons. I have to talk about the Falcons. What to expect from the Falcons, man? What do we expect from the Falcons? Third team I played for in the NFL. Spent a couple of years up there, and it's always been a place that I love to visit, Atlanta. So shout out to the Falcons. Where we chiming in from? Talk to me. You know I love to talk back. So what do we think about the Raiders and the 49ers? I'm not sure if everyone got to see all of these games, but let me just tell you, I'm going to let you know. The number one overall pick for the 2026 NFL draft, my boy, Fernando Mendoza, struggled tonight. It didn't look so promising tonight for Fernando Mendoza, but that's what it's about. He's a rookie, and he's trying to figure it out. The pace of the game, who he needs to throw the football to, and the timing of the football, and a lot of things. He's just learning, And I guess tonight answer Clint Kubiak's decision for the week one starter at quarterback, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, old man Kirk. These veterans are hanging around, man. Kirk Cousins, he played very solid tonight. He played a solid couple of series tonight. He was very precise. He commanded the offense. And he looked like Kirk Cousins is supposed to look. He didn't look nothing different, nothing spectacular. He looked like Kirk Cousins is supposed to look. Very efficient, getting the football out of his hands quickly and making sure that offense runs how it's supposed to be ran. And I'm hoping Fernando Mendoza is taking mental reps and he's learning. That's what you have to do as the number one overall pick. You understand? And regardless of who starts, his team will still be a competitive team in the AFC West. I liked him to compete for the AFC West. I'm not going to say for the title, but they're going to be up there making some noise, So looks like Kirk Cousins will be the starter for week one, if you ask me. Kirk Cousins will be the starter. I don't know how long he will be the starter. Of course, Kirk Cousins has a long history of, problems lasting a full season in NFL. So Fernando Mendoza has to be ready, and he'll be ready. He'll be ready. I got a lot of faith in him. I know a winner when I see one. Then you got the Steelers versus the Bills. I was hoping to see. Let me say I was hoping. I thought ASJ, Asante Samuel Jr. would show up tonight, but it's going to be interesting. We got roster spots coming up. You got contract issues in Pittsburgh, and you ultimately got competition at the position. You got Dean, who was signed to Pittsburgh. You got Joey Porter Jr. dealing with a contract situation. And then you have my son. He's fighting for a spot. He wants to be a starter. So it's going to be interesting to me to see who are the starters for day one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, I don't expect anything less but my son out there competing for a starting job, I'm excited for him. I know he's excited this season. And we'll see. We'll see how everything goes. I can't wait for the first game of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But in the meantime, they have a quarterback battle in themselves. They got Mason Rudolph, along with Mason Rudolph will be the backup for sure. You got Drew Allard and Will Howard. Drew Allard is the rookie. And then you got Will Howard, I think he's entering his second or third season. I think Will Howard obviously won that battle, but I think Drew Lock has a lot of potential. He can grow into a nice quarterback and be potentially fight for the starting quarterback next season. We'll see. We'll see. But that's enough on that's all we're going to talk about, the Steelers versus the Bills. Now we have to talk about my favorite, man. We have to get into this thing. Tua Tagovailoa, the Atlanta Falcons. And they didn't play tonight, they play tomorrow. And we will be tuned in. And all I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad day. It's a sad day for your boy, ladies and gentlemen, because the days of giving Tua Tagovailoa a hard time are harshly coming to an end for me. What am I going to do? It's coming to an end. Kevin Stefanski got Mr. 1-2-3 starting in the preseason finale. Can y'all believe it? I know Tua Tagovailoa isn't taking this too well. Tua days in NFL are numbered. Sorry to say. That's what it's looking like. Because he is essentially fighting for a spot on the 53-man roster at this point. It's not guaranteed for Tua no more. His time has ran out from being the first round pick to having that gifted contract that Mike McDaniels and crew gifted Tua Tagovailoa. But it was fun. I can't lie, it was fun watching Tua at his peak. In his peak when he had the uncoverable Tyreek Hill for a weapon and Jalen Waddle. It was fun watching, man. They put on the show. You know, Tua had a lot of people fooled. He had a lot of people fooled, especially the fans in Miami, the Dolphin fans. But it was exciting to watch. It definitely was. And at the end of the day, Tua Tagovailoa needs to impress the Falcons to make the team. Simple as that, man. He's back to square one. Competition for Tua, man. And Tua impressing the Atlanta Falcons or impressing the team, I just don't think that's happening. Anybody sees that happening? Say I. I really don't see it happening. Mike McDaniels was the best thing to ever happen to Tua Tagovailoa's career. Man, oh man, as I sadly bring this here to you tonight, it is with a broken heart to have to read this to you, ladies and gentlemen. There's a chance they're going to cut him. NFL Insider gets brutally honest about Tua Tagovailoa's Falcons' future. Here's a guy who's in his 7th season, and he's failing the eyeball test. He's progressively getting worse. His vision is getting worse every year, or ours is. It's bad. It just doesn't look like an NFL quarterback anymore. Man, those are some harsh words for Tua Tagovailoa. He doesn't pass the eye test, and it just doesn't look like an NFL quarterback anymore. Man, I saw this a long time ago, but he was able to get through with Mike McDaniels. And Tua's arm is just too weak to compete in NFL anymore, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago. When it comes down to it, Tua doesn't have the arm to get it done in the National Football League. He barely had enough arm in his peak, in his prime. And that's the reason for the moniker Mr. 1-2-3 that I started for Tua. Because I saw this a long time ago. I saw this a while ago. If Tua doesn't get the football out of his hands after 3 steps, when he's in a shotgun, you say hike, get the snap and shotgun, take 1 or 2 or 3 steps. And if he doesn't get the football out of his hand at the time of that 3rd step, it's hard for Tua to get the football down the field with accuracy, basically. And when he had Tyreek Hill, if he didn't let the football go on that 3rd step, ain't no way it was going to get there. Ain't no way it was going to get there. But guess what? There you got choices and you got consequences in life. Who are you? Because if I was Tua Tagovailoa, you know what I would do? I bet no one can guess in the chat what Mr. Pick Six would do. And I'm telling you, You count my word, I would do this. This is what I would do if I was Tua Tagovailoa. I would quit on the ass. I would straight up quit on the ass. You know what? You better respect my pay grade. I'm paid millions from the Miami Dolphins regardless of how y'all feel about me and what y'all think about me. Either I can do it or I can't. If I was Tua, I'm going to make you put some respect on my name. I don't need to be here. Yes, I love to play football, but them days is over. It's a business. Because when Tua steps on the field, ain't nothing about to change. There is nothing about to change when Tua steps on the football field. You can make him compete all you want. You can put his roster spot on the line. Ain't nothing going to change. He don't have Mike McDaniels anymore. And that arm is through. Whatever you see in practice is what you're going to get from Tua Tagovailoa. Coach, hey, Coach. I need your attention over there, Coach. Coach, I can't play the last preseason of the game. Last preseason game, straight up. It can't happen. What's my excuse? My head hurt. My head hurt, Coach. Took one too many hits last week. See you in week 1, Coach. Man, I'll be ready. Money in the bank, baby. Ain't nothing to be depressed. Ain't nothing to be down for. Hey, man, this is a business now. Our years of the love and passion of the game is over. Hey, this is business now. We're here to make money. Yeah, we love to play the game as well, but the money is the main objective. You know, what the hell am I stressing for? But there's a big old question mark surrounding Michael Penix Jr. I hope he hurry up and get out there and relieve himself of this question mark. But at the same time, Michael Penix Jr. is being put in a vulnerable position because he most likely will start the first regular season game of the season with just a few weeks of practice under his belt. Now, if you play wide receiver or cornerback or any other position, that's not a big deal. It's not that big of a deal. But when you're talking about the hardest position in football, the quarterback, the person who has more responsibilities than any player on the football field, you need more than a few weeks of practice, even though you was there last season. This is a new coordinator, a new system. There's a lot to learn. Without much practice, it doesn't sound promising for Mike Penix to start this year off, you know, and expect him to play at a high level. It's kind of like setting him up for failure, to be honest. But I honestly don't think Kevin Stefanski planned it out this way. He probably didn't want to put Michael Penix out there too early, too fast. Choices and consequences. Kevin Stefanski decided to sign Tua, and now he has to deal with the consequences. It's just so happened Michael Penix Jr. is the unfortunate person, but on the other side of that, you know? And it's very possible, man, the Falcons have to play this season with the 3rd or 4th string quarterback. It's a good chance. You mess around and Jeff Stroud, the 4th string, winds up being the starter just based on the history of the quarterbacks, the 2 starting quarterbacks that's coming up, you know? I have little to no confidence in Cooper Rush, the 3rd stringer, if y'all familiar with him. He's been around, and I don't have much confidence in him. Probably just as much confidence I have in Tua. That's probably what about the same much confidence. But shout out to Tua, man. Tua Tagovailoa, man. It has been fun. I really think these days are coming to an end, and we'll see. We'll see if he's going to, if he makes the roster, if he has a chance at making a 53-man roster. What do y'all think, chat? Do y'all think Tua has a chance of making a roster? Nobody care about no goddamn Tua anymore. Goddamn it. Tua is done with, man. All right, let's run through this. So next segment of the night, we got to talk about the number 1 pick, Cam Ward, for the 2025 NFL draft. And Cam Ward isn't taking criticism so well. He isn't taking constructive criticism so well. And this preseason hasn't been going as good as he would like. for the entire team, not just Cam Ward, but the team in general. And yeah, Cam Ward has been struggling. That's no secret. Just probably to him. He probably doesn't see that he's struggling as much as he's struggling. And I'm afraid Cam Ward is in trouble. He may be in a little trouble because I don't see enough talent around him for Cam Ward to have the best chance of having success as a Tennessee Titan. And that first pick syndrome, that's what looks like is hitting Cam Ward. That first pick syndrome, coming to a team where you're about the best as it get, basically on offense. Now they have pretty good defense, and they play defense well, but this preseason has been horrible, right? And the top pick for the Tennessee Titans, man, Carnell, how you pronounce it? Carnell Tate, right? Carnell Tate. They have high expectations for Carnell Tate, but we haven't seen anything too exciting from him. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he had a catch during the preseason yet, right? And you know me, I'm all about speed, especially when it comes to wide receiver. And I don't see speed. I don't see speed in Carnell Tate. You know, he's just a player. He was a player in college. Now you got to be a player in NFL. There's two different leagues, you know. But Cam Ward shows flashes of a quarterback who is very capable, more than capable, of getting it done at a high level. He just needs the supporting cast around him, man. You know? And it's just quite not clicking like it needs to be. Until then, Cam Ward has to figure it out. Let's check him out.
How would Cam Ward assess the way Cam Ward has played so far this preseason?
How would you assess it?
Not well.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I'm glad you don't think so. That's good.
How would you assess it?
You know, I assess it as, did we win the game or did we lose the game? I assess it as what I can get better at. I don't assess it as someone who can get up there and, operate when everything's on. It's a different process level. So it's more of, slowing down the game to everybody. And I believe we made a huge jump from week 1 to week 2 because we're getting more condensed in the playbook. We're not really opening everything up. And, when we come to week 1, I think it'll be a different story.
My boy, man, Cam Ward was aggressive. How would you assess it? He was quick on his feet. How would you assess it? He's defensive, man, about this season. It's frustrating, man. When you're a competitor that hard, you want to win. Everything is edgy. It's right on the edge. He wants to play good. He wants to be that same quarterback he was for the University of Miami. He's just in his second season, and it's not feeling right to him. Well, how would you assess it? God dog it. I'm trying my best, and I'm putting everything I can on the football field. I just don't have what I need around me. I can't say it, obviously, but I sure hope Cam Ward isn't looking at this preseason, wins as a tool is, expecting the same results during the regular season because he says he looks at it as wins and losses. Right now, I think Tennessee Titans, they won 2 preseason games, 3 preseason games, so it look like they're pretty good, But that would be silly if Cam Ward is assessing the freaking preseason and like, all right, we did pretty good. This is how it's going to grow in the regular season. And then Cam Ward, what's frustrating for Cam Ward? He hasn't thrown a touchdown in the preseason. And only 15 last season. So that's the area Cam Ward is struggling. The signs are there, right? It's just hard for Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans to put points on the board. And that's probably what's on the back of his mind. He understands last season was a struggle putting points on the board. So he had a goal in mind. This preseason, I want to execute and get out the game quick. Want to execute 2 or 3 drives. Maybe go 6 for 7, 90%. He's had some type of expectation, goal in his mind. And it's just not panning out the way he expected it to, right? But after Carnell Tate, and only because he is the top pick, the Titans' top pick, they don't really have any game-breaking players. So it's like they continue to rebuild. You know, it's an uphill battle year after year for the Tennessee Titans, right? And this year is going to be another rebuilding year, you know, and they just have a lot of obstacles to overcome to be able to win something. And Cam Ward is struggling, man. He needs some help around. You know, and we usually hear the tone from players when things are going. We usually hear this type of tone from players when things aren't going so well. You know, despite what they might say, you can see it. Quarterbacks usually take the high road when they're on the podium and it's time to give a speech about the team. I think Cam Ward just needs to express to the powers to be, you know, I need speed. I need game breakers on the outside. I need playmakers around me. And yeah, just go after him. Go get it. But man, I got high hopes for Cam Ward. I'm a Cam Ward fan. I think he has that pedigree in him as a winner, someone that can figure it out and get it done. Obviously, he can't get it done by himself, and there's only one player that can get it done with average players. We ain't gonna talk about the GOAT, Tom Brady, you know, the GOAT, you know. But next segment of the night, man, we have to talk about DeShaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, Dllion Gabriel, Tylen Green. A lot going on in Cleveland, man. Right. And I'm Cleveland Browns. You know, they played against the Patriots tonight. Cleveland Browns versus the Patriots. And I think that game may still be going on, coming to an end, though, right? And right off the rip, Dllion Gabriel, he was impressive tonight. Real impressive. What he went, 12 for 15, 186 yards, and 3 touchdowns in just a half of football. Had a 157.9 passer rate. It's pretty good, you know? And you would say he got his chance, but it's just preseason, baby, and we can't. And we saw what he can do. You know, he had his chance to start, but he looked good. He looked like the quarterback we used to see in college. You know, yeah. When things get tough, I don't know if he could perform as good as he did under pressure. But when things is going good, as we seen when Dllion Gabriel was a starting quarterback, he delivers. And that's what he did tonight, man. Not too much pressure on him. You know, they controlled the game. He made the correct reads and got the football out of his hand, right? But here's the key to this whole competition situation. Talking about Todd Monken here, right? I think Todd Monken is underestimating the power of the dog pound fan base. Because Shedeur Sanders is so popular and he garners so much support and attention from everywhere, I wouldn't be surprised if there are enough fans at the Jaguars game who support Shedeur that's starting to boo DeShaun Watson at the away game. That would be a total disaster for Todd Monken. At this point, the cat is at the bag. Not too many people agree with the decision Todd Monken has made to start DeShaun Watson. Now, if y'all don't know, you've been living up under a rock somewhere. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a Florida-based team. And if you didn't know, Coach Prime is a Florida boy. It could get ugly in Jacksonville for DeShaun if he doesn't perform.
The fans want us to win. I mean, ultimately put a good product on the field. That's really what they want, okay? And so that's our job as coaches, why we're hired, to try and put the best product on the field. And when we don't, then I understand the frustration. But ultimately, they don't decide who plays. I mean, who would I be if I let someone outside of the building decide who plays?
Who would I be if I let someone outside the building decide who plays? I'm telling you, Todd Monken better stop underestimating the dog pound fan base, man. He better stop underestimating and stop talking to him like that. those words might come back and bite him in the ass, right? Yeah, man. People are not happy. The product everybody witnessed on the field don't agree is the good product. I'm not sure if Todd Monken agrees. He just has to say it. But at the end of the day, DeShaun Watson goes out there and play good. He won't have anything to worry about. It's just simple as that. But the more I think about it, right? The more I think about this competition between Shedeur and DeShaun Watson, Todd Monken handled this situation entirely incorrect. Wrong. He handled it wrong, man. You know what he should have done? It's very simple. He should have simply named DeShaun Watson the starting quarterback, with it being his position to lose, DeShaun Watson position to lose from the start of training camp. That would have made life much easier for Todd Monken. Once DeShaun Watson starts the first game of the regular season, then the real competition begins. Because that's pretty much what's going to happen. Competition doesn't start until the first game of the season. Everything else was getting prepared, basically. But that's what's so special about our sport. Any given day, players have the opportunity to prove critics wrong. Show your coach you can do it. DeShaun Watson has the opportunity to make us a believer again, regardless of how we feel and who we support or who we want to see play. DeShaun Watson has the opportunity of a lifetime. It may be far-fetched, but it can happen. It may be super far-fetched. And the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is a tough defense to move the ball against. Yes, they're tough to move the football against. Jacksonville had the #1 rushing defense in the NFL last season. They got some hogs up front. That's not good for DeShaun Watson. If Cleveland can't run the football, DeShaun Watson is forced to pass the football, that's get real ugly for DeShaun Watson. Now, I predict DeShaun Watson to struggle in the first game of the season. I'm sure the majority of us do. Maybe a couple of interceptions, probably a few fumble balls, a few procedural penalties. Because I don't think he's really ironed off the rust like that. We'll see. And I just think he'll revert back to the DeShaun Watson we're used to seeing. He can't capture that guy that was in Houston for the Texans anymore. And if Todd Monken is forced to pull DeShaun Watson and put Shedeur in the game against the Jaguars, that will be the biggest embarrassment to a coach of all time. I can't see one bigger than that. Normal circumstances, nothing outrageous, guys. Talking about competition here. That would be the biggest embarrassment of all time. Everyone sees clearly that Shedeur outplayed DeShaun Watson. Then he says, I'm not going to let someone outside the building decide who plays. And you put DeShaun Watson in the game, and everybody sees it. Man, things will get ugly, boy. Things will get ugly, man. Because listen to this. Check this out, right? If the Cleveland Browns, in the first regular season game, if the Cleveland Browns are down 2 touchdowns, or maybe 3, early in the game, before the first half, and Todd Monken refuses to pass the football, or even the third quarter, we have a problem. He's trying to save DeShaun Watson. And that's when he will find out that the fans don't play. They will put the pressure on him and help him dictate who should be playing quarterback. Don't play with the dog pound. Don't play with the people who pay the bills, man. Coach Prime. It got Coach Prime talking, man. Coach Prime is saying as much as he can, as little time as he can. And he couldn't hold back. He had to put something out there. Can't hold stuff in too long, man. You have to let it out, man. I feel Coach Prime, And he had to say something about his son being screwed. Let's check him out.
All right. And we all know what's transpiring with. Go ahead, Amari. And we all know what's transpiring with Shador, although he's playing extremely well. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. You know what I mean? Take a sip of that. Hey, that potion, baby. But you can see how unhappy, man, Coach Prime is in his body language and his tone of voice, man. You can see the unhappiness. He feels for his son. It's like, why is this continuing to happen to my son? Dang. And they don't want Coach Prime to start talking crazy. They don't want Coach Prime to get out of character. And they know, hey, if you know Coach Prime, he don't care, especially when it comes to his baby boy, you know? And I feel like it's getting to the tipping point for Coach Prime. He's like right on the edge, you know? But I really don't see what Todd Monken is expecting from DeShaun Watson. I could tell you what I expect based on his performance in the preseason. You know, hopefully he comes out the first series moving the football, because the first series is usually scripted, and the first drive is usually the easiest drive for quarterbacks because it's a scripted drive prepared for, you know, what the team is about to do. After the first drive, I expect Watson to get frustrated. I expect him to have a frustrating game. Same old experience. He will start watching the pass rush, especially when the pressure starts to get there. Plays will break down early. And it would just start looking like a hot mess. If he plays 4 quarters, I could see a minimum of 2 interceptions. Not that Shador wouldn't throw any interceptions, but I'm just evaluating that. Man, don't think I'm hating or nothing like that, right? Because I think Shador Sanders would probably throw an interception or 2 as well, you know? And yeah, it probably would get to the point where it's hard to watch, man. And that's probably when the boos started coming out at the away game. It'd be enough fans, enough Brown fans there along with the Jaguar fans teaming up, man. They tired of this mess. We want to see a competitive game, man. Then how do you think the fans will react, man? How do you think the fans will react? DeShaun Watson is on the field acting awful out there. But let's stay hopeful. Let's stay hopeful, man. Let's stay hopeful. Now, Art Manning, if y'all don't know about Art Manning, the golden boy from the University of Texas, the Manning family, his that lineage over there, right? And we keep hearing all this hype about Art Manning being the number 1 pick of the draft, you know, and no doubt he has come a long way and he has the chance to be a top 10 pick and also a number 1 pick. He's very worthy. But I say that to say this. It's time to freaking let Shador Sanders start developing his NFL skills. All these quarterbacks being drafted ended up being average prospects, you know? They're being drafted way before Shador was drafted. They're average prospects, but they're getting an opportunity. And they're being exposed for being average prospects. While Shador's just continue to fight for opportunity that he can't get. That's what's pissing me off, you know? But that's all we got here for tonight, man. And gonna see what Tua does tomorrow in Atlanta Falcons, man. Who does the Atlanta Falcons play? I can't think right off the rip. Who do the Falcons play tomorrow real quick in the chat? Who do the Falcons play? Not the Bills, not the Steelers. They say, what Coach Prime say? Coach Prime is not on the hot seat just for the simple fact he was dealing with health issues. No, we never say Coach Prime's on the hot seat. We say Coach Prime is at the tipping point where he's about to explode and say something about the situation dealing with his son not being treated fairly, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, man, appreciate you too, man. I appreciate the support. Great job, Asante. Yeah, get fit with Mike. Shout out to Mike, man. Salute. Where you from, Mike? You probably a Florida boy. Salute to all the Florida people chiming in. You know, get this good insight from your boy. We don't get up here just to talk. We make sure we deliver. And we like to entertain because we like to have fun. But it's Thursday Night Fives, man. Make sure y'all tune in here first before you tune in anywhere else, so we deliver you that great content, baby. It's your boy Asante Samuel, Mr. Pick Six. I had fun rocking out with y'all tonight. I enjoyed y'all, and I'm gonna see y'all next time. We are